Come to Remora TC to trade like a shark and not get eaten by one. Let's school together to protect and grow our money. Hi everybody, it is Wednesday, May 28th. Let's review how our tickers have been doing, the 10 or so that we've been tracking for the past few weeks. And then if you stay to the end, you'll see another ticker, which I think is setting up well for a trade. Let's begin with the SPY. Got the SPY here, daily chart. You can see my prediction on, this was on Wednesday, excuse me, on Sunday. I said likely price would come up with this blue arrow indicating the direction, likely come up and retest all-time highs. And it's pretty much doing that. You can see here, this was, let's see, on this day, this was Friday the 23rd. Monday was a holiday. So Tuesday is this green candle and today's red candle with not a lot of volume. So again, we'll be retesting all-time highs or getting close to it. My annotations here. Likely retest all-time highs. Let's see what sort of divergence appears. Okay, so right now, no negative divergence, really no trade for us here. Onto the triple Qs. This one, my prediction was retest all-time highs. And you can see how on Tuesday and today, Wednesday, that price continues to move towards this upper resistance area annotated with the red here. I'm going to redraw this, this percentage arrow. Just redraw it real quick. So from where we are today up to where this resistance is, that's about 3%. Okay. And likely it may peak above that a little bit. What we're wanting to see is whether divergence appears down here. And I think it will. It's just how the sharks will play it. So it's coming. So not much upside for those who want to go long on triple Qs. I'd wait and see which direction the sharks will go. Likely the divergence will appear. They'll signal to one another to sell. That's my prediction. Switching to the FTSE, this is the UK market. The prediction is also a retest of this zone up here, highs and lower prices subsequently. And from where we are today, that's about 2 1/3% further up. The downside is still where I think the play will be. The sharks have already informed one another that there is the signal to sell. So this is their signal right here on the divergence. It's just we're waiting for the confirmation from a price standpoint to trigger it. It's coming. That's all for the FTSE. If it gets up closer to here, then you'll see some volume jump in on the downside for the FTSE. Let's go look at the gold play, GDX. Based on this right here, this was the bullish divergence, the signal for the sharks to buy. They've begun to do that. They've done that, and you can see that. Filled the gap here. There's about 6%, 6.5% further upside for GDX. And what I annotated here on Sunday was I'll call it prediction, that if they can get price up to this zone here, it would cause this double top with bearish divergence, in which case the sharks will inform one another to do the sell. And this would be, I'd likely join them here on the short side to sell. Okay. All right. Switching to the Bitcoin play, MicroStrategy. The sell signal by the sharks came here. This was May 12th. Okay, May 12th time frame. You can see that lower lower and lower price action. It got underneath this support line here, and now it poses resistance. Yeah, it's just more selling. So from where we are right now to the 200 day is down here. And that's another 20%. 20% lower, likely to get to the 200-day moving average. So that is MicroStrategy. I'm not in this trade. I would personally like to take it on the retest of I'll show you here. Let me zoom out. So this line here, and let me just change the color just for the purpose of discussing it. I'll make it this orange color. Okay. Likely what will happen, take my pen out, price will, let's go to the brush. Price will bounce around here. It will. Okay. Ultimately, it will break. Once it breaks below, what I would like for it to do is I'd like for it to come back up and retest from underneath. So it'll break down below, spend a couple of days, a week or further below, and then it'll come back up and retest before further prices down. So the 200-day will probably come out over here like this, right? So this retest, this is just how price action works. It will do that. So it'll grind for the next few days, week, whatever, finally break down with a bit of conviction. Likely they'll gap it down. It'll be a gap down to this 341, in which case the buyers will come in, use it as support, buy it back up, and when it retests this line here, about here, anywhere around here, I mean, it could be up here. The point is the retest of the resistance. Then for me, that will be the opportunity to get a nice entry short, to play it down to the 200, or maybe even down to this 308 zone down here. Okay, so that would be the play. I'm not jumping into it right now. I'm going to just erase these just to clean it up. But all right, that's kind of the play that I'm hoping for my entry for this one. Clean this up. All right, but you can see here the prediction is still down to the 200-day. Let's switch to Nike. This one has been going as planned. I mean, this is how price action works. Let's add in the RSI. You can see it here. So from where we were on Sunday or over the weekend, we were here, because that's the Friday close. I'll zoom in a little bit for you. The Friday close at the top of the gap, I said it would be support. Indeed, it's been support over the past couple of days. My exit for this long trade, because I took it back here, my exit is up here at this resistance. Okay, I'm going to just slide it down a little bit further there. And I'll move this annotation over. All right, that would be my exit. Then I'm going to wait. Similar to MicroStrategy, I want to see it retest this trend line. So the trend line I'm talking about is this one right here. When it gets up there from a long standpoint, let's add this brush over here. Add it as a favorite, so it drops it over here, move it over a little bit. Okay, so when price gets up here, this is where I'm going to sell, take my profit. Okay, it'll bounce around, and then it'll pop over, and I'm not going to chase it. I'm going to let it come back down, and when it hits the line again before it makes the next resumption upward, right? This area, it's not this exact price point. I'm trying to explain a concept. Price will always come back to retest a long-term trend line, because that's how price behaves. That's how the algorithms and retail traders and others behave at these trend lines. Actually, it's the algos, it's not the retail traders. The algos will do that. And that's where I'll take up my next long. So right now I'm waiting for price to come up so I can meet my target to exit, okay? And then I'll wait for it to come back over so that I can re-enter the trade. This Nike one has been behaving really well. Okay, switch to Microsoft. Let's review what we were talking about from before. I had discussed that Microsoft in this pattern here was losing momentum. And my analysis was based on the hourly candles. And I talked about this in my last video. You can see down here in the RSI, this is the hourly, okay? Each candle is an hour. That this thin line here is my annotation for the hourly. And it's very obvious that you can see it down here, that momentum is dropping down. It's bearish momentum while price continued to move up. And indeed, when I talked about it on over the weekend, I said at this zone here, likely it will break underneath, and it did. And now what you can see is that price has come up. This is the concept I talked about in the Nike ticker, right? Price has come up to retest from underneath. So I'm just going to extend this real quick. Okay, so you can see what happened. On this spot right here, price came back up and retested. Okay, that's just kind of how bearish price action works. When price fails, from a momentum standpoint, the sharks have told one another to exit, but retail traders and other mid-sized fish want to buy back in because they're always thinking about buy the dip. That's how they've been trained. So they buy the dip right into resistance. You can see the resistance here. And then selling will resume. That's just how it is. Now, a key thing for us, for those who are in Microsoft, rid of this, in their Microsoft trade or are watching it closely, that on the daily chart, there is bearish momentum. The signal indicated by this darker red line here is the sell notification between the sharks. They've just told one another, all right, guys, it's time to sell and take our profits. That's what they're going to do. So I'm just going to move this over to show, yeah, it's going to be lower prices for Microsoft. And likely what it will do, just to show you, it'll come down, price will come down, eventually hit this black trend line here as support. It'll bounce off of it some. Okay. It'll bounce a little bit. But then it'll continue. The resumption of selling will continue. It could do something like this. Right? The 200-day will come to play. I'll just slide it over. Fine. Somewhere. But the main point that I want to make is lower prices for Microsoft. It's going to fill the gap. Okay. So from where we are today, we're right here. All right. So that would be about 13% downside for Microsoft. Okay. It won't happen in a week or 2 weeks, but it'll happen. I don't play options. This is all based on stocks, buying and selling stocks. Okay, there's no time factor here. It's just based on momentum and the analysis of behavior at certain trend lines. All right, that's the update from Microsoft. Let's switch to NVDA. You can see that NVIDIA, my prediction was lower prices for NVIDIA. Okay. And what's interesting is that right now is earnings. Wednesday's earnings. And the after hours movement of NVIDIA right now is at 140-ish in the after hours, even though the earnings release hasn't come out yet. You know, the day's candle ended on 134.81. That's where price closed. And so with a lot of speculation, after hours market, people are pushing it up to 140. Don't get too excited. It's, you know, the signal to sell is right here. Okay. The sharks already told each other to sell. So those who do go long up here, based on whatever the earnings results is. It could be a positive, very good news for NVIDIA, or it could be very bad news for NVIDIA. It doesn't matter. The signal to sell already came. So the price action tomorrow morning and tomorrow for NVIDIA could have prices very high, right? Maybe the earnings call was really good or whatever. However, the sharks want to manipulate the price, they will, so that people will buy in. And when they buy in, the sharks already told one another it's time to sell. They will begin selling. So, yeah, be careful on that. I'm going to just zoom out a little bit, take a look at the, let's see, I'm just going to peek over here. I kind of see an unfilled gap, okay? So I'm going to just annotate it right here. All right, so unfilled gap. It goes all the way back to this candle here, which is 24 January. Let's zoom in on that a little bit. All right, so let's say the play would be like this. If I were the sharks, we have to think like a shark. If I were the sharks, I would get people excited, push price up such that this is resistance, the gap entry, or even I'll move it up a little bit higher. I'll do both. Top of the gap fill, okay? And create even more bearish divergence here. Yes, I think that's how they would play it. If I were the sharks, I would want to get as many retail traders long as possible. Okay? And then sell the heck out of it. So that's what I think they're going to do. Okay, that's the worst case scenario for the longs. The longs wouldn't want that. Now, if we're able to move with the sharks, because that's the overall intent, the overall intent is to, I mean, I think if we can take a short up here, that would be a beautiful short. Let's look at what that would be. That would be an 8%, 9% move down to the 200-day. So I'm going to go like this. I will leave the annotations there. And I'm going to leave this one here because really lower prices for NVIDIA, that's still my prediction. It's just at the moment of earnings calls, it's a crapshoot. They're going to manipulate price the direction that they want retail traders to behave. So we will see it happen. Okay, it may not get up to this gap fill, but I mean the after hours is at 139. They still haven't released it yet. Let me continue with the video. We may come back. We'll check NVIDIA at the very end in case the results do come out. And then I might switch to the hourly after hours ticker to show you. Let's continue. Tesla. Okay, Tesla. The signal to sell by the sharks arrived today. Yesterday, right here. See this? So on this candle, which is yesterday, they bought price up to hit this resistance line. I just drew this one tonight, this resistance line. So it goes back to 28 February. Okay. You can see how price used it as support here, retested it from below here. Over here, retested it as from below as well. Today, again. Okay, but what's most important is that yesterday's sell signal, sell indication by the sharks is right here. So my prediction was lower prices for Tesla. This is what I said on Sunday, based on the momentum change that I saw. Okay, there was already a momentum change here on these couple of days. On these three candles, there was a bearish momentum change. Yesterday's action just further confirmed it. Hence, I drew this line. I extended this line further out like this. So the direction is still south, okay, but I'm just going to move it over more. I will move it over more. I'll just get rid of this guy. It's still south, right? Lower prices, that's all. So ultimately, no real change other than it's further confirmation of lower prices, okay? I'll just kind of go like this. probably gap fill, bounce off the 200-day, come back up a little bit, and then further low prices. Okay. All right, low prices for Tesla. Let's go to Palantir. Palantir, this one, the entry still hasn't taken place for me. I'm still waiting on this one. Look at all of this bearish divergence. It's mouth-watering. Now, Palantir is super volatile. So it's a waiting game. I want price to come to my entry point. I've talked about it for a week now. So that's 2 videos where I said, I want price to come up to this resistance line, this purple resistance line, before I join the sharks for the selling, because that's what they're doing. They're going to do. So I'll just kind of move this guy over a little bit just to make it look cleaner. Actually, I'll just get rid of this guy. All right. Anyway, I want price to get up there because it's just lower prices for Palantir. And with all of this built up energy, okay, all this coiling of energy down here in the RSI, it's like a spring that's been wound up. It's just waiting to be released. And from where this is up here down to here, it's about where the 200-day or the gap fill would be, about a 30% move down. Okay. And what I've noticed often is when we want to take an action with the sharks, sometimes, especially on the short side, to sell with them, the availability of shares is usually low. And what I've noticed is they don't have the shares available to utilize for the short. So how do we, what can we do in that situation when we want to join them to the short side? When they're selling, how can we sell? Well, the way I do it is I actually have a different broker. I trade on 2 different brokerages because they have different shares available. So you might want to investigate that if you also want to do the same sort of trade. Okay, so if you can't sell it on one platform, one brokerage, take a look at a different one. And if you have questions about that, drop a comment and we can talk about it. So Palantir, I'm still bearish on it. The price action, the momentum has indicated lower prices for a long time now. Okay, now let's switch to the bonus ticker. And I picked this one because the setup is there. I often talk about trading based on setups, not trading based on a love for a company or a stock. I only talk about certain stocks on this channel because I know you guys like them. The Microsofts, the Palantir, Tesla, NVDA. But for me, it's not about the particular ticker. The tickers that I trade aren't necessarily the ones that I talk about. If I am in the trade, I'll tell you because I want to share how much conviction I have for my analysis. But there are other tickers that I trade, and this is one which I intend to trade. It's called ADM, Archer Daniels Midland Company. And you might say, well, who the heck are they? To me, it really doesn't matter. I think it's a consumer, they make consumer products like cereals and other types of, they take grains and they mill grains and then they create products out of it like cereal. But the point isn't that they do it well or if they're eco-friendly or that they plant trees every time they do something. It doesn't matter to me. The setup is there. And let's take a look carefully. Okay. Ignore the arrows. Let's look at the overall price chart. Okay. And I'm zooming out. Each candle is a week. This is the weekly candle. I want you to pay particular attention to this purple trend line down here. Okay. So we are here, and you can see down at the very bottom, the scale shows the years. So you can see that this purple trend line was support at the low of the COVID low, right? April 2020. And we'll keep going. And you can see that the same purple trend line was also support back in 2008. I don't know if some of you were even born back then, okay? And then if you keep going, you can see we also used it as support here back in 2000, okay? Actually, 2008, yeah, you guys were all born, sorry, in 2000, okay? Maybe some of you weren't born in 2000. My main point is this purple trend line is legit. Okay, now, let's look at price action in recent times. You can see this upward trend and then this channel going down. Okay, so it's very obvious. And you can also see some annotations here about gaps, but let's switch to the daily chart and review the sell signal that they put. Now for me, okay, this is the high here, all-time high, which is about $98. You can see an attempt to retest all-time highs here. Okay, this is in November, December of 22. And I'm going to put the RSI in. Okay, I made the annotation already here. This was the sell signal by the sharks. Selling began. Price came back, attempted to retest all-time highs. I mean, I would say this is a retest. Okay, you can see that this attempt to retest is higher than this, right? So this price goes upward here. And look, even here, the momentum, further confirmation of downward momentum. So that's called divergence. And the sharks sold. Okay, they've been selling. And it's been selling down and down this channel. Okay. So now, you see this annotation of the gap here. That's fine. We're going to pay attention to that. What I want us to see really carefully is the bullish divergence. I mean, it's crazy. A lot of built-up energy on the upside. So you can see this RSI point down here is way down here, okay, which coincides with this price right here. I'll just kind of circle it. So price is here, RSI is down here. Price continued to move downward and hit this right here. But you can see RSI is here is higher than RSI down here. Okay, it's so obvious. So I'll just kind of annotate it like this, there. Okay. So that is the buy signal that the sharks told one another. In fact, you know, if you don't want to go all the way back then, you can look at this spot right here, from here to here. That's a buy. And I'll zoom in to show you. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom into this guy here. Okay. Zoom in even more. All right. So you can see this RSI is lower than this RSI. Okay. That's all. It's just another confirmation for you. I'm trying to reinforce a educational point. All right. So what's the play? The play is this, and I'm waiting for the right entry. Remember that. What I anticipate will happen, there's two possible scenarios. The first scenario is that this trend line here, this is the downward channel line. I'll make it a thicker one just for the purpose of discussion. This downward trend line, which has been there for the beginning of, let's see, it goes all the way back, all the way up to about here. So May 23. From From May 23 to now, it's been resistance. I anticipate that it will beat resistance, and price may do the first one of two things. Price could get rejected here, so I'll just annotate it. Let's show the rejection. It's possible that price could get rejected here, and when it gets rejected, the downside is it could get all the way down to this purple support, in which case that would be the absolute most amazing entry, because not only do you have incredible divergence, bullish upside divergence, but for me, it's that double bottom. It's a bottom here and a bottom here, okay? So that would be an absolute amazing long entry, okay? So that's one. The second possibility is sometime in the next week or two, they will gap it above this, likely hit the 200-day. I'm re-annotating this, redoing my analysis as we speak. So here's the 200-day. I'll make it blue. It'll likely hit the 200-day, get rejected, and it'll come back down and use this trend line down here as support. Excuse me, I need to clean this up. So it'll come down and use the same trend line, this dark one here, use it as support. Okay. If it does that, I'm also taking a long. So it's either take a long down here, down here, anywhere along this purple trend line. That would be the absolute most amazing. Or it'll come back and do what Nike did, right? This is the same setup that Nike did. Okay, if you followed my Nike trade. It broke through, came back. I said, hey, anytime it comes back along this trend line, it's a good long. I'll make it like this for you. Make it green. All right? So it's just how price behaves, how the sharks want to do it. Okay? It's a little bit messy as a view, but my point is, for both these arrows, it's upside. Okay, this one is just upside. All right, and the gap is up here. So let's see. If the entry was from down here, because let's just say it is, the gap fill would be 60% up. Okay. I mean, it would take a long time. You know, not a couple months. It could take half a year, maybe more, 2 years, whatever. But if the entry was up here, that's about a 40%. Okay, so either way, I really like this setup. I don't even eat this company's cereal, but the point is, it doesn't matter. The point is the setup is there. Okay, so that's the end of the 10 tickers plus this bonus one. Let's go back to NVDA to see if the earnings call completed, because I'm interested. Let's take a look. NVDA. Let's see what happened. I'm going to click the E. So Wednesday 28th. The result hasn't come out yet. All right, well, we'll have to wait until this weekend. You'll have to wait until this weekend for that analysis. But if the setup is really juicy for the short, if they do what I think they might do, is gap it up here, get everyone salivating, and then dump, then I might put a post in the community chat or forum part of my channel to let you know, hey, the selling has begun. Okay? If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, put a comment, do all of those things for me. Help me get the message out to more viewers. As always, good luck with your trades.